Welcome to the Modern CPA Success Show, the podcast dedicated to helping accounting firms stay ahead of the curve. Our mission is to provide you with the latest and greatest insights on cutting-edge tools, innovative marketing strategies, virtual CFO services, and alternative billing methods. Join us as we change the way people think about accounting.
Okay. Adam, we've got an episode coming up that really touches on some of the things that we really like to talk about. What'd you think?
Well, a couple things, really. First of all, we're always looking for, streamlined technology to deliver services to help them make more efficient. And then, and I think our guest today is kind of that crazy mixture of great advisor, lots of experience doing the advisory stuff, but also really technical. We've got a couple of those people on our team. They're unicorns.
We do.
And whenever you get those people to actually be, moving a software forward, it's pretty exciting because they can see kind of both sides of things. So I thought that was huge. And then just hearing him talk more about like the drivers and getting really passionate and excited about that. I mean, again, that's kind of near and dear to our hearts. We're always, really talking about getting intentional with the numbers. So I thought that's pretty cool too.
I thought so too. And he's got what sounds like a great product. He mentions the pricing at the very end. So I hope people have some interest. The pricing was impressive. And that's one of the common things that we get around sort of what do I put this thing in? So I hope people really get a lot out of this episode. So enjoy.
Yeah, sounds great. Thanks.
All right, we've got another really good episode of the Modern CPA Success Show today. Got an international guest, so I'm really excited, and you'll get to meet him here in just a moment. I'm Tom Waddleton. I am joined by my usual co-host, Adam Hale. Adam, welcome today.
Hey, Tom.
So our guest today, Blagoja Hamamdjiev, is the CEO and founder of Modeliks. Welcome to our show, Blago. And by way of introduction, can you tell us a little bit about just your personal story? And then we'll jump in and talk more company and our other topics.
Great to be here, Tom, and thanks for inviting me. Yes, a quick introduction about myself. As Tom said, I'm the CEO and founder of Modeliks, which is a business planning and investor reporting software for startups and SMEs. Before starting Modeliks, all my life I've been creating financial plans and pitch decks for different projects, pitching it to people in order to fundraise for those projects. So my whole life, probably 20 years, I've been pitching ideas and fundraising, and with that experience of 20 years, I decided that I want to take that experience, that knowledge, and turn it into a financial planning and a business planning product, so that every entrepreneur in the world can actually create professional business and financial plans instead of in order to be able to plan and manage their business better.
Excellent. And I did see background, you started early in your career with Ernst & Young, right? So you've got some big accounting firm experience in addition to working with small companies.
That's right. Actually, Ernst & Young, I started with Ernst & Young. I was an auditor in Ernst & Young for my first few years of my, right after school, first few years of my career. And then I did a couple of other things. Then I went back into Ernst & Young towards the end of, I guess 15 years later, where I was the director of the business planning engagements or the business planning team within Ernst & Young. So every engagement that had to do with creating a business plan, a financial plan or a business plan for a client in the retail sector and the technology sector in the whole of I guess Middle East at that time was under my responsibility, I guess. So okay. Twice Ernst & Young.
Sounds like great learning. Okay, would love to hear more about Modeliks. And before the show started, I was asking you about where you're located, and you also gave me some idea of just the global nature of your company. So just be interesting as you tell about it. I'd love to hear more where you are, where your team is, as you did before, to give people idea how global it is.
Yeah, so it's kind of a modern startup, and most startups that I actually speak to today, they are structured in the same way. So me personally, I'm based in Skopje, Macedonia, which is in Eastern Europe. And I sit here with my development team where we develop the software. But then I have my product team or the design team is in Germany, in Munich. I have my Q&A team sitting in Denmark, and I have salespeople sitting in Dubai in the Middle East. So across the world, my company is Modeliks is incorporated in Ireland, and I have investors from around the world. I have investors from the US, actually, from Europe, from the Middle East, from almost everywhere. So it's a truly small startup, but with a global footprint.
Love it. And is it a remote company? Or do you have office space?
So we have office space. Here is Skopje, where most of the developers sit. Here it's we go to the office. I'm in the office right now, but everyone else around the world is definitely remote. We don't have offices around the world.
Okay. And we are similar in that we are a remote firm. And as we merged with Anders a couple years ago, they have an office. And so the company has an office in St. Louis, but most of our virtual CFO team is either remote or some hybrid with that office. So some similarities there.
It was 4 years ago. It was impossible to, I guess it wasn't impossible. It was possible, but it was very difficult to think that it will come to this situation where it's completely normal to everyone to work from home and work to get done. But I guess that's one of the positives from COVID times. Now it seems that it's completely possible, and offices are quite empty, to be honest. People don't want to go to the office.
That's right. We finally got the stragglers. So us, like you, have been doing that for a really long time, and so we just had those last few people that were sticking to their guns, and now COVID, like you said, kind of pushed them over the edge, and now it's kind of commonplace. So, which is great. But so I mean, I'd love to learn a little bit more about because I think that what I hear you saying is this isn't just for startups, right? That's kind of where your experience was in the fundraising side. But there's obviously a ton of value to being able to look at this kind of modeling on a month-to-month basis, even within a normal kind of small business, if you will. And so, some of the things, talking about how could somebody use this tool for their advisory business, even if they aren't necessarily doing it just for like a pitch deck or doing fundraising.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Elevate your firm with a virtual CFO playbook, how to land $60,000 per year clients and provide a killer client experience. This comprehensive online series of modules provides you with the essential tools to create and deliver scalable VCFO services. Developed from Summit's successful approach, which propelled them from $500,000 to over $10 million in revenue in 10 years. This playbook will equip you with the skills to take your firm to the next level. Additionally, upon completion, you can receive 24 hours of CPE credit for the course. Ready to grow your firm? Enroll now at vcfoplaybook.summitcpa.net.
So let me just step back a little bit and tell you what are the main things that Modeliks helps users, and then I'm going to come back to the whole advisory question. So Modeliks helps users do 4 things. Yeah, it helps them create a 5-year, 3 or 5-year financial plan for their business. It helps them track their actual financial performance against that plan. It helps them create an investor-ready pitch deck. And it helps them create a bankable business plan or a long-form written format of business plan. So those are the 4 things: financial planning, financial reporting or management reporting, pitch decks, and business plans. Those are the 4 things. Now, who is it for? As we mentioned, as I mentioned earlier, it is for startups and small business as the end user. But what I find from my customer base, about 25% of my customers are actually consultants and accountants themselves that use the software, and they actually use it for the reason that you mentioned, for providing advisory services to their clients. And when I talk about advisory services, I see 2 specific advisory services being that Modeliks is used for providing. One, financial planning and budgeting. So full financial planning process, financial 1-year or 5-year plans and budgets that accountants specifically, but also consultants help their clients create, their small and medium-sized, startups and small businesses as their clients. So financial plans and budgets is number 1, and number 2, which I find quite interesting, that I didn't expect it to happen. I see that consultants and accountants start using it for regular monthly management reporting services to their clients. Because when you create financial plans and budgets, very often you create it at the beginning of the year, and then maybe you have to revise it every quarter or maybe every half a year. But management reporting is something that you provide as a service on a monthly basis. So the whole management reporting service is a more engaged service on more regular basis than financial planning. So those are the two services. It's financial planning services or budgeting service, and management reporting services for clients is what accountants and advisors, business advisors use Modeliks for. And the one thing I want to mention, the reason why Modeliks is, well, let me step back. My goal for Modeliks is to be the #1 business planning or financial planning software in the world for startups and SMEs. I'm not going into large corporates, but the #1 solution for startups and SMEs. And the reason why I'm confident that this is where we're getting to is because of one specific benefit, one specific feature of Modeliks. And that's the ability that it allows either SMEs, end users, or accountants and consultants to create driver-based financial plans for their businesses or for their clients. So driver-based financial plans is the only type of plan that any company should be creating in order to have a properly done financial plan and budget for them. Now, what does a driver-based financial plan mean? That means that you build your financial plan based on the activities in your business, the operational activities or drivers in your business that have the highest impact on the business results for your business. So once you create a financial plan that is based on the activities, the operational activities, that's when you can actually truly manage your business, assign targets to your team, and improve your business on regular basis. So, and I'm going a little bit more detail on this driver-based planning because
this is great.
Really for me, the most important, the only way that anyone should be planning. So let me give you an example, a real example of what driver-based planning means for the audience to understand me better. So let's say let's say a software business like Modeliks. We're selling software, right? So let's imagine we have for next year we have a revenue target of 1 million euros for sales. Yeah. So we're gonna calculate that revenue for software sales based on the number of clients that we have multiplied by the average ticket size per client. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But now, to come to the number of clients that we need, I would actually want to calculate that number based on two specific variables or drivers. And that is the number of leads that I need to generate, and then a conversion rate from a lead into a customer. Yeah. Now we split the number of clients into two important drivers: number of leads and conversion rate. These are two things we can control. Then all of a sudden, the number of leads will have impact on the number of salespeople that you need. The more leads you have to process, the more salespeople you need. The more leads that you need, it impacts also the marketing budget in order to bring those leads. There's a marketing cost to it. And then the number of clients that you have, it actually impacts the number of customer support people that you need in your team. So you see, the business is the operations of the business, they're all interconnected. And a financial plan needs to be built with those connections in mind. You need to build it based on those activities. And this is what Modeliks allows you to do. And there is no other software for startups and small businesses that it allows you to create a financial plan based on the drivers specific to your type of business. So that's for me the crux of why we get business advisors and accountants using Modeliks to provide higher margin advisory services, financial planning advisory services, because of the driver-based financial planning logic that it has been built into it.
Yeah. I really like that. If you were to listen to the courses that we teach around forecasting, you would hear Adam passionately talking about, hey, the very first step you do in the forecast is, and we mainly focus on revenue initially. What are the drivers that you have? And I'm sure you've had the same experience, but you can talk to a business owner who says, I did $2 million worth this year. My goal next year is to do $2.5 million. Wonderful. Once you start breaking down what you're saying, the drivers to do that, that's the real conversation, right? Can you really grow your existing customers? Can you find the new customers and things? And I really like that you're getting back to, so then how many actually target prospects do you have to get at a certain conversion rate to do that? But those for us often become the real key metrics that you're going back to the owner and saying, let me tell you the story about your business. The dollars are kind of the result of that. But did you or did you not hit those drivers to help them understand kind of what's really going on in their business? So I like that you got that base.
Because if you don't, and exactly, because if you don't break down the business to those drivers, you can't really properly manage it. Because let's say you had a target of whatever 100 customers and you reached 50. Okay, now is it because you didn't bring enough leads, or is it because you brought a ton of leads but your salespeople are just terrible and they're not able to convert them? Now this is important for you to measure your business, to know maybe you're generating a massive amount of great leads, but your sales team is terrible, yeah? Or maybe it's the other way around. So when you break it down to the drivers, to the activities, you're able to manage and improve your business.
Yep, you're speaking our love language for sure.
Yeah.
We definitely like talking about drivers, having a really intentional and deep understanding of how the clients make money, and then obviously from there you can follow every dollar into the. So I assume that the software is also dynamic enough. Like, can you tie the expenses related to the income so that when the income moves, then some of the expenses will move? You know, kind of those kind of things. Yeah.
Fully dynamic model. Everything is interconnected with each other. Yeah.
Okay. And then it does have the ability then to kind of template out a pitch deck as well as a pitch deck as well as a business plan for a bank.
Yes. So the financial tables and charts, they are directly integrated with the pitch deck. The pitch deck obviously it has the pitch deck has a structure and a design that you can use to fill it out, to fill out the pitch deck specifically for yourself, and then the financials are automatically linked. So anytime you change anything in the financial module, it automatically changes in your pitch deck and your business plan. So there's no chance of having old numbers in your pitch deck and business plan. It's always interconnected with your financial plan.
Yeah, I think that's really unique and important. I mean, even if it's not a startup or you're not doing fundraising, oftentimes, obviously, you're having to go raise some money from, go to lenders and try to figure out those kind of things. And it's good just even sometimes looking at that from 10,000 feet. I think sometimes having that kind of perspective in a client relationship, you're talking to them and you're like, hey, like, let's look at it from an investor, because as a small business owner, you kind of are, you are an investor of your own company, right?
Yeah.
So it's good to kind of see that perspective and kind of see that in story form in terms of a pitch deck or a business plan. So I think that's a really cool and much needed integration, because a lot of times what we find ourselves doing in the advisory world is we're supporting that concept. So a client will come to us and say, hey, I need to put together a pitch deck. And we're like, oh, okay, first we need to start with this forecast. And so we'll go through this whole big process of putting that together. And then it's like, okay, cool. Now we got to figure out what from that we're going to take and then put into the business plan or put into the into the pitch deck. And that is, frankly, that's kind of an overwhelming kind of thought or task, and it's wildly inefficient. And to your point, if things change, then you got to go update them and do that kind of thing. So I think from that perspective, I agree. That is there are forecasting softwares out there that get into the drivers. They're three-way statements. You get the balance sheet, the income statement, cash flows. Those exist, but and some of them have better reporting than others, but they definitely do not have like the business plan integration and the deck that I've seen. So that is pretty unique and pretty cool.
So let me just add one thing. Yes, there are softwares out there that helps you create, that you can create a driver-based financial plan for sure. But there are two differences from those softwares to Modeliks. The first difference is that they cost $25,000 and up. If you get any software that allows you to do a driver-based financial forecast, costs $25,000, let's say $20,000 and up per year. Modeliks costs 20 times less than that. Actually, at the moment, 40 times less than that. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, and this is very important, we built predefined financial models within Modeliks by industry. Yeah. So I've spent 20 years building it. I don't know how many financial models I have built in my life in Excel. Thousands. I can't even count them. But so what we do is we create financial model templates by industry within Modeliks. So let's say you are a well, you're a SaaS business, let's say, like Modeliks. You go into Modeliks and you say, okay, the first question, well, one of the first questions is going to be, do you want to start from a predefined financial model for your industry? And if you say yes, you start, and the whole driver logic that we've been talking about for the last 15 minutes is already pre-built for you within Modeliks. All the connections of revenues with cost, with number of leads, with clients, with everything is already pre-built. All you need to do is start inputting assumptions around those drivers, and you have your financial model, professionally built driver-based financial model, done within. I mean, I do it in 30 minutes. Probably takes a day or two for users, but you do it so quickly, and you don't need to spend days. So the reason why I started Modeliks is because it took me 3 weeks to create a proper financial model in Excel for every new client. If we're talking about a serious financial model with all the statements, with charts, outputs, with drivers specific to their business, it takes me 2 to 3 weeks, and I am an expert in this field. In Modeliks, with the predefined financial model template, you have that handed to you on a plate. It's ready. Just input assumptions. If you need to add any, there are some specifics for your business. Add revenue streams, add costs. But 90% of your model and the driver logic is already pre-built. So you start with a professional financial model by industry. And and very often, some of our accounting clients and consulting clients that we have, they will call us and they'll say, look, we have 20 clients in the, let's say, restaurant business. Yeah, can you please create a financial model for if we don't have it? Can you create a financial model for this industry within Modeliks? I sit down. I take a few days. I have a lot of experience. I take a few days. I create a professional financial model, and then they can offer that same model, well, with tweaks, to 20 clients of theirs. So this is the efficiency that you can get out of tools like Modeliks, or Modeliks in this case, that you have a fully pre-built financial model for your industry. And if we don't have it, tell me, we'll do it. And you can offer that financial plan, that financial model to as many clients as you want, because we've done it once and you have it for your clients. This is where you get the efficiency. This is where you get a high margin advisory business using such tool.
Yeah, I like that approach. We work with a couple different niches, but one in particular. And when we work in our niche, they can see the experience because we've got those models to say. And so oftentimes we're saying, here's the information that you'll want to be tracking, and give that to them. I like when it's a new one that you've already got a template that you can step in feeling smarter about how things would work within a client.
Exactly.
That's a really good approach.
Exactly.
But I still like my flexibility of being able to add my stuff. So It sounds like that's good. And speaking of flexibility, I mean, how does that work with, is your product pretty, is it pretty flexible in terms of software and things that connect into it? Like, how does the data feed into it? Can you feed into the data through G Sheet? Can you do it through an Excel? Can you do it through a QBO link? Like, how does that work?
Yeah. So at the moment, you can either input data or you can upload an Excel sheet. So you would download a template from Modeliks with the right structure. Then you put in your number, download an Excel template, basically, input your numbers, then you upload it back into Modeliks, and you have it in there. But and just, I gotta say this, I didn't mention before, we have been live only for 4 months. We are a very new company to the market. So we've been live for 4 months, and QuickBooks integration is the first thing that we are working on right now. So in about 3 months from now, we're going to have a QuickBooks integration. Xero comes right after that, and then we'll see what else we integrate. Extremely important, I know, and we have a big focus on accounting integrations, but they're coming in about 3 months from now.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. I mean, because that's important too, is I think ease of use in terms of how we do that stuff is extremely important. Because I think that also what we find in this space is that, and we experience it for ourselves as well, is people are like, I am not you. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. Like, you're one of those unicorn people that both get the financial side and the data side, which is great. And we've had a couple people on our team that are like that. But for the most part, you get the person that's like really good at the programming side, but couldn't speak advisory stuff to save their life. And then, or the other side of the the table where it's like, I know enough to be dangerous. Like I can open up the software, I can log in, I can add a few drivers, but you got to keep it really simple for me because I can use the information really well, but I don't necessarily want to be a data programmer in order to build it. And we see that being probably one of the biggest, whenever you're talking about the more comprehensive softwares, sometimes that's a little bit of an obstacle for them, that user experience side.
It's extreme, and we've done so much testing with end users in order to get the right customer journey, I guess, within the software. And when I look at the software, I still see things that I need to improve, and that's a continuous process. But what I have realized is that the more complex, the more features you give, you think you're helping the user, but you're really not helping you. You're just making it more complicated, and they start getting scared of using the product. So what I have tried to do is to include, in terms of the feature set, really the most important things that you would need to have a professional financial plan, driver-based financial plan, but not complicating it more than that. I always like to say this, that my design philosophy for Modeliks is that I've designed it to be as simple as possible, but not simpler than that. So it has to be useful. It has to be useful.
Right.
Simple at the
No, 100%. I mean, that's why I say sometimes the complexity can be just overwhelming, but the technology too. And I don't want to have to go to 10 different screens in order to get something to populate on this one number. That's also super frustrating. So the data input has to be pretty solid. But I mean, I think for the most part, getting an export out of a QBO into a format that's easily uploaded is something that's pretty common knowledge for most people in the space. And it's not a huge lift. It'll be nice, obviously, once you get that connectivity, I'm sure. But yeah, having the ability to do that. So I do want to kind of pivot and go back to, like I said, what I do think is super unique is obviously the pitch deck and the business plan. And I can't tell you how many times I wish I had those integrated into our forecasting tools, because it does come up. Like at some point, at some time with any of our clients, it seems like that's always a conversation. There's always an end, or there's always a need for cash, whatever. So having that
isn't it always last minute, Adam? Right, when it comes up, it's like, I need this tomorrow, right? Yeah.
And it's simple.
It's not yesterday. It's tomorrow. You're good.
You already do the modeling. Yeah. It's like, so you think that you can get that done by like next Tuesday even? And I'm just thinking to myself, I got to go investigate like what a deck looks like. All that kind of stuff. So, so it's a difficult thing for sure. So I do love that, but I do want to kind of circle back around for making sure it's practical use every single month. How would you, can you kind of walk us through how I would engage the software in order to support a client, like from a monthly and advisory kind of perspective?
Yeah. So the fourth, I guess, tab in the software is the fourth functionality is the whole dashboards functionality. And what this allows you to do is allows you to track your actual financial progress, actual results, compare them to your plan, to previous periods, and to previous year. And I don't have to explain to you, at least, guys, what that means. So it's a full variance analysis on all the financial statements, so P&L, balance sheet, and cash flow statement, full variance analysis across those four periods, actual forecast, previous year, previous period. Then you have more than 50 charts, again, for every part of your business. So every chart you can imagine that you might need to understand how your business is performing is already in that. Again, comparing actual versus forecast or actual versus previous periods. So all charts automatically calculated, presented for you. Then you have ratios. You have 16 of the most important ratios, all your margin ratios, all your so profitability ratios, return ratios, leverage ratios, and liquidity ratios. So 16 ratios, everything automatically calculated. And then custom KPIs, you can create a list with the most important KPIs, the operating drivers that we're talking about. Create a list of those drivers so that you can track those drivers on monthly basis. And then the final step is the management reporting. Once you have your you have your dashboard, you can create a custom dashboard. You have a custom dashboard with the charts and tables that you want to report on monthly basis, on regular basis, on monthly level. And then from that dashboard, you create your management report where you have all the charts, all the numbers are in there. But when you report to a board or to investors or to whomever, just having the numbers it's not enough. You need the explanation behind the numbers. You need to explain to that board member why is my revenue 30% higher than what I expected. It's a great news, but he still wants to know why, right? So in Modeliks, what you would do is you create, there is a management reporting template where you have all the charts and tables with all the numbers, and then you have space to provide the context behind the numbers, the reasons why the numbers look like they do. So literally, it's a tool that helps you plan, then plan and report on monthly basis, create management report on monthly basis with numbers and explanations why the numbers look like they do. So that's how you, if you're an accountant, that's how you use Modeliks to have interactions with client and provide client services, management reporting services, month by month by month by month, or a virtual CFO services of two smaller companies, not virtual, but fractional CFO services. You have you set up your reporting and you have everything that you need with few clicks to be able to present a full management report to your clients. I hope that answers.
So I mean, yeah, it does. I mean, and you're obviously a super smart guy. You've been able to build this kind of thing. So you're leaving me some space for me to do my review, right? And for me to type that information in there. Are you thinking about, or, we're like kind of in the infancy stages of AI. Like, have you been starting to think about how to tap into that to be able to, at least as a starting point, again, thinking about efficiency, right? Like for you to be able to integrate your software and be able to call out, these drivers are the reasons why your revenue was up 30%.
Yeah, it is in the plan to release the first AI integration or first AI features towards the end of this year. There is a lot to, like my list of things that I need to do with this software. It doesn't end. It has for the next 5 years. I have a task for my development team. AI is one of the most important ones that is coming towards the end of this year. Both in generative writing of pitch decks and business plans. Basically, you answer a few questions, you click generate pitch deck, boom, your pitch deck is created. So from that perspective, from the financial part perspective, things like suggesting which drivers, suggesting what kind of revenue streams, cost streams you should have in your business if you're not starting from a template, and as well as AI analysis of numbers in terms of benchmarks. And this is extremely important. So finding benchmarks. And benchmarks is extremely difficult thing to have, but extremely important as well, because every business, every location is different, and anything can be a good or a bad benchmark. But to start off, I think at least to get a sense, benchmarks are important. So AI for doing research for you in terms of finding benchmarks on your financial side is the other thing that we're looking to do towards the end of the year. But as I said, there's hundreds of things to do to make Modeliks the number one business and financial planning software in the world.
So of the people using it, Blago, I'm curious, accountants and advisors as opposed to entrepreneurs doing it on their own, what is the mix of your Modeliks users?
25% is advisors, 75% is entrepreneurs.
Okay.
At the moment.
Okay. Yeah. What is it? So I think, we do an awful lot of coaching of other people trying to get them into advising, and our main service is advising clients. Why do you think so many CPAs are kind of holding back on the advising or not jumping into doing it? Because that's been our impression, is there's a lot of talk about advising, and we meet a lot of people who aren't jumping in to do the advising.
I have a hypothesis, and you probably know this better than me, so it should be an interesting discussion. My hypothesis is that creating again, it depends what kind of advising, but let's talk about financial planning or financial planning advice, right? Creating a financial model, a driver-based financial model in Excel, it's difficult. and it takes a long,
Totally.
long time. So if a CPA needs to create a financial model in Excel, he probably needs to go back to the client and say, if it's a small client, if it's a small business, and he needs to say probably, yes, it will cost you $10,000 or it will cost you $20,000. And that's probably too expensive for a small business, for a financial model. That's what I'm saying. You probably know this better. This is my hypothesis. I think it's just creating a proper financial plan, proper financial model in Excel. It takes so long that it requires quite significant knowledge of financial planning. It's also not. You need to spend time as an accountant. You need to learn this. You need to learn this skill. Yeah? It's different from accounting, at least in my opinion. So I think the fact that it requires a specific type of knowledge that you need to spend time and actually gain, at the same time with the amount of time that it takes to create just one financial model, this is what I think it stops accountants from going into at least financial planning and financial modeling services.
If I can just comment
What
on
do you
that,
think?
because I agree with you. Well, Excel, we actually tell people don't do it. What we would say is the income statement's not too difficult to do. The balance sheet needs to be correct, and the balance sheet is complicated. And you will probably find yourself spending all your time fixing the mistakes and not actually using it. And then I would take it one step further. I think one of the barriers for many people is then what tool do I use? And if I'm really small, I have to become an expert in the forecasting kind of a tool and some kind of a reporting tool and maybe other things. And that becomes overwhelming. So I'm agreeing with you. But we really discourage people trying it in Excel because it just, man, you're going to find yourself in a nightmare trying to do that.
But still, more than 95% of financial plans are created in Excel.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Well, and so, but to that point, and partially because, not only is that what we're kind of familiar with, but also because they're flexible. And so what you will find is that in a lot of these other tools, it's just really difficult to provide that kind of flexibility that Excel has inside of a software. And that has historically been a little bit of a challenge because once you go out of the, hey, I'm in base mode and I'm just dealing with these 10 basic concepts, the clients will oftentimes take you through this rabbit hole of like trying to like go, okay, but we should be more granular here. And how do we get with a budget here? And then how does that work from like a user perspective with the software? Because what we also find sometimes frustrating, but still a request is sometimes clients are wanting to sandbox with different scenarios, or clients are wanting access to be able to change the data. So how does that work with, knowing that obviously the primary person that is your end user is the person that's actually running the business. How does that work with multi-users and one program? And do you have scenario availability right now?
Oh, yeah, that's hygiene stuff, right? Yes, you can have as many people as you want working on your financial plan or your pitch deck, whatever you are doing within Modeliks. So basically, the owner of the account just gives access to whatever part of Modeliks they want to any person, and then that person can either be a viewer or an editor. So if you give them an editor permission, then you can have 5 people at the same time working on the same financial plan, or maybe 2 work on pitch deck, 2 on the financial plan. It's all real-time collaboration. In Excel, this is very difficult. This type of collaboration in Excel is very, very difficult. So that's one of the big advantages of SaaS softwares, not only Modeliks. Basically, any software would allow you to have this kind of real-time collaboration between client and an advisor, or just within the client team, whoever want to do it. So yeah, that flexibility is there. I think that's a given. It has to be there. That's one of the most important value propositions. And then go ahead.
Nope. I was just going to add, so more about Modeliks. So an advisor who wants to work with you, do you want to talk a little bit about pricing? And if it's on a per my client basis, if I'm the advisor or I buy the software, you want to talk a little bit about help people understand if they want to move and learn more about it?
Yeah, I'll start with, it's a great value pricing. I don't like saying cheap, but it's actually cheap, but it's great value pricing. So for the highest plan, meaning you have access to pitch deck, creator, business plan, financial planning, and dashboards, everything, the whole Modeliks, it is on a monthly basis $59 monthly subscription. And if you do it on an annual basis, then you get a 30% discount on that number. Yeah, so it's on annual basis. The most expensive plan is $492 actually, and within that you get 5 companies. You can have business plans, financial plans for 5 companies and 5 users. If you want to add more companies, you want to add more users, then it's just $10 per company or per user that you want to add. So I think pricing is not an issue for anyone when it comes to Modeliks. If you find it useful, then I think pricing is just negligible.
Yeah. And then for someone just getting started, what kind of support, training, help me get my first one done? What is offered around that?
Yeah, so we have support during live support during about 12 hours out of the day, and this is chat support and email support. As well, if a client needs some help, they can schedule a demo call or for a 30-minute demo with some of my sales team. Sometimes with me. We're still in early stages, so I still like to hear directly from my clients to understand where I can improve, where are they struggling, so that I can improve the software. So it's so if anyone has a question, the first level of support is customer support, live chat or email. But anytime anyone requests, I want a conversation like this, a live conversation with screens on, sharing screens and just going through Modeliks together, that's the next level of support that for now everyone is getting. When we grow up into having 20,000 clients, we probably are not able to do that. But for the moment, anyone that needs help in live session, we are able to provide that support. And moreover, I just want to stress on this: if you have a specific niche in industry in terms of your clients, and you need a financial model, we can do that for you. We can do it together because you understand that industry very well as an accountant. So what are the KPIs? What are the KPIs that are important? We can build out a model that you can then use for all of your clients within that industry, and that's a level of support that for that kind of support, I would do that myself directly.
Yeah, it does sound like good support. I think that idea of sort of that demo call, the onboarding, as people start, you're going to really find valuable even as you get bigger, because that's often what we hear is like, when I start with that blank page, I'm not sure what to do.
Yeah.
And we even do that internally with new people. And once I've done one, all of a sudden sort of the lights start to go off, and then you're like, okay, now I've got it from there. But I wouldn't be surprised whether it's live or maybe hey, here's a recorded class that you go through and build your first kind of thing.
So Tom, I've created 32 videos for how to use Modeliks. So when you're in Modeliks, there is a help center where it has 32 videos for every section. There is a 5-minute video of how to use that section. Nice. Then there is a full demo video of 15 minutes of the whole of Modeliks. Then there is demo by industries or SaaS, how to create a financial model for a SaaS industry, for restaurants, for consulting service, for different industries. And then there is 100 articles again for every single section of business and of financial planning and reporting. And you know what? People don't like to look at them. What I find is still when I sit down with someone, take 15 to 30 minutes to show them around Modeliks. This is when it just clicks. It's like, oh my God,
yep.
Great.
Yes, so, we are creatures of habit, aren't we? You're like,
yeah,
I'm telling you what was in the video.
Yes, exactly. So how does that work with multi-companies or departments then? Does that roll up, or like, let's say that I heard you say restaurants, like say you had 5 restaurants. Do you put all 5 restaurants in there individually, and then is there some kind of consolidation feature?
Yeah. So this is the version that is going to be released in 3 months together with the accounting integrations, which I call a multidimensional planning and reporting, which will have a consolidation feature. So you define your company structure, whether that's 2 business units, 3 regions within each business unit, or it's a restaurant company with 5 restaurants, whatever is your organizational structure. You define that, and then you do your planning based on that planning and reporting based on the structure. At the moment, is on a company level, on a consolidated level. You have different revenue streams for your You can have different revenue streams, different cost streams. You can split them by, let's say, by departments or by restaurants. But a true multidimensional feature is coming in about 3 months from now, and that's going to be that's the version, that's the software that comes in handy for medium-sized businesses, because they are the more complex businesses that they require this multidimensional structure that rolls up into, consolidates into one company, and then it consolidates up, and then it allocates costs down wherever required. So full consolidation and allocation. But that's coming in the next 3 months. At the moment, is that's why I said it's startups and small businesses where they do not have a complex reporting structure with different departments, stores, and everything.
Okay.
But there are 3 things which I can't wait, and they should happen in the next 3 months that I just can't wait for them to happen. One is QuickBooks integration. Second is multidimensional planning and reporting. And third one, which for the US is not important because it's already in English, but it's localization and different languages for different countries. These are the 3 most important things that are coming up in the next 3 months.
Blago, this sounds great. And it really does, as we talk to people going toward advisory, that idea of helping someone through a forecast and then the continual maintenance of the forecast and helping them track that progress is really important. But like I'd said before, one of the biggest questions we get is around tools and what tool. And there's both an expense to it and a lot of time that people put in when you talk about small operators. And we work with a lot of solopreneurs. And this looks like it sort of checks a lot of those boxes for people. And so I would really encourage people that they can reach out. So where can people get best information? I assume it's modeliks.com is your best place to go?
Modeliks.com, that's the place, yes.
Okay, that's fantastic. Well, I hope people will move that direction. And thank you for kind of this overview. And it's gotten me more excited about some of the driver-based kind of things that we do and the way we're doing it. It's consistent, but also a really good sounding tool.
Look, thanks for inviting me as well, Tom. And this, I just love to get people to teach them, for them to learn how to create a financial plan that is truly useful based on drivers. I see way too many plans with just plugged in numbers in there. Yeah, my revenue is going to be 500,000 and my costs are going to be 300,000. It just doesn't work. Let's stop doing that and let's create something logical, something that makes sense, something that helps you actually manage your business, provide set targets to your employees. I mean, you have, I was giving the example of number of leads and then conversion rate into clients. That's the target for your customer team, to your sales team.
Right.
This is your conversion rate. I don't want you to. There are no other targets. This is your target. It's in the financial plan, and you are directly impacting with your work. You're directly impacting the financial situation of the company, and you can see that link. So as you can see, I'm extremely passionate about driver-based.
I see the passion. Yes.
Yeah.
I totally agree. And
it's not a very interesting subject to be passionate about. I'm passionate about other stuff as well. But now, because the conversation is about financial planning, yes.
Yes. But get an entrepreneur who's passionate about their business, and often they're not good at that analytical part, and that's where the advisor can come in and help them. You're good at your part of running the business. Let me help you run on the advisory part, and together that can come together really nicely.
Perfect.
Yeah, thank you so much. Really enjoyable conversation.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Enjoy this podcast? Visit our website, summitcpa.net, to get more tips and strategy for achieving modern CPA firm success. We're here to be a resource in this ever-changing industry.